I'm not.
That's a huge continent.
You're talking
That
to
most
me.
world country? No,
I tried.
you don't know. It's one of the biggest it's the biggest continent. Aside from like fucking European, Russian continent. It's huge. There's literally tribes.
I know. I've seen the globe. I know
What?
Africa.
We are all human beings. Why are we being divided? Black, white, African.
Because that's the way the system works.
We are all American.
Where are you from?
I'm from China.
So you're from China. So you came to this country and then didn't learn about the history and then now try to tell us how to react to it?
Well, I'm here because I choose America over living in China.
Okay,
so
that's
American,
fine.
And I love
That's fine. But just because you're in a country, okay. Yes, I understand that. You think that. That's nationalism. That's fine. Listen.
There are a lot of people who have faced a lot of divisiveness. There are people who have been discriminated against because of the color of their skin. Those are
It's not even just. What if I went to China and then try to tell y'all how you should feel about your own government? And without learning anything about China, if I went to China and was like, well, I like China, it seems to work out for me. Why don't you people decide?
How do
But
you know?
no,
I don't know anything about
because you literally told me by saying we're all Americans. Why are we being divided by black and white? They have divided us by that. We know phenotype doesn't matter. I know that.
Who divided?
This country was built. You don't know. What do you? You should really. Do you go to school? Do you like?
I
take
know
classes?
about slavery, but that's past.
That's past. Let's move forward. When did that happen?
You know Chinese railroad.
How long did it happen and when did it happen? You're saying slavery?
You don't know about Chinese railroad workers. Chinese railroad
Yes,
workers.
they fucking built the part of this country.
That's right.
You're trying to equate.
right.
You're trying.
That's
Listen. You're trying to equate chattel slavery, history, hundreds of years when we were not considered human being slaves. We were animals. We were property of white people for hundreds of years. We have now been not as far removed from that. That has been in existence longer than it hasn't. So from a historical perspective, to be here and try to say it doesn't matter is insanity.
We had a black president for 8 years.
But that doesn't matter.
Black people
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You're saying something that doesn't matter.
You're gonna live your life in the past.
In the past?
I mean, what
You don't
understand
understand
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to improve this country?
What do you think we're doing? I go to this school. I sacrifice my life all day learning about other groups of people and how to make that on a systematic change. How to gain power and autonomy. How to gain power and autonomy. I am paying my tuition.
Are you getting a job?
What the fuck are you asking? I'm a full-time student.
So what I'm saying is you are pulling your strings, you are going to school, you've done the
Yeah.
best. You should be proud of yourself.
I was raised by immigrants that came here undocumented, that are working in the field.
You work hard.
Exactly. So I'm not going to forget my people because of that. We're not here. What's the population of black people at UC Berkeley?
Don't forget when you get your degree.
Oh, who cares?
He's black. Okay.
Exactly. And you want to know something about that? They use African immigrants and people who just came to this country and their parents just came to the country, and they use the same statistics to cover black Americans who were historically been here, who are ancestral to
Once you get your degree, you can do great good for
that hides black Americans.
You should be.
No,
You should be.
we have a different history. Just because we look the same, stop. Back the fuck up. Back up. You need to back up. Back up.
Respect your space.
Back up. You do not. You're spitting in my face. You've touched me twice. You need to back up. Okay, so no, do not fucking talk to her like that. You need to back up. You want to yell in my face?
You need to answer.
Your breath hella smells. You didn't even fucking brush your teeth. You need to back up.
Sir, come on, give her space.
Fuck up.
There's no reason for you to get in her face.
Back up.
Politeness, basic common courtesy,
We're not
human dignity and goodness.
Okay, 3%. That's covering African immigrants. That's covering people who recently came here.
You know, my daughter didn't get to Berkeley because her grade wasn't good enough. So what? So what? My daughter couldn't get to UC Berkeley. You get to UC
what does that
Berkeley
matter?
with your grades.
Yeah.
So who cares about the ratio? Who cares about it?
Because it's
I never went to
representation.
UC Berkeley. I couldn't-
Because since affirmative action was made illegal in 1992, black and Latino enrollment at this university in UCLA shot down 300%. We're not here. We're not here. My people aren't here. They're in communities being disenfranchised systematically, economically, socially. Domination. You haven't even learned. You don't even understand what I'm telling you. because you haven't even tried to understand. You came to this country and you fit in great. You got success. You probably helped your family.
You're not fit in great.
Imagine,
but that's fine. You're talking about this is your choice. Okay, whatever. You decide to be here. That's fine.
I don't know a lot about Chinese history. I don't.
I know about Cultural Revolution, which is very much like what's going on here.
I'm sure you
Cultural
do.
Revolution is the same as what's
I'm sure you
now in this country.
understand Chinese history so much more. I'm talking. Oh, you need to calm down. Calm down.
No, you already got in my face. Don't stop when you're excited. You just told her to shut the fuck up and you got in my face. Twice you touched me. Forget you? You touched me twice, sir.
It's your imagination.
That's my imagination. Like
You did.
have it on camera. You touched me.
I don't think you intended to, but you did.
Yeah, because you were getting heated up in the moment. You wanted to scream in my face.
Okay, you ready to talk to me now?
No, I don't want to talk to you. You already fucking did this. I don't need to talk to you. You have nothing to say. You have nothing to offer me.
Are weak.
The way that laws have treated those
You're
people
just
and
quoting
learning the
what your
history of that
teachers
is
said.
something that's essential.
I think she's a pretty independent thinking person. I don't think she's definitely thinking by herself.
That there are structures still in place that don't make us.
No, I just got to this school. I come from a family that's not educated. I come from a family that I'm one of the only people in my family that doesn't have a felony. For things like mental illness, for the fact that we have been forced to be a certain way, and then now that we act because of that way, we're now penalized and criminalized from not only our skin color, but the way we live. We're not only, everything's segregated still. I come from a segregated community. I went to a high school in 98% white people. Okay, but I'm fucking shit up. I'm changing shit. I'm working my ass off on a daily basis. You don't know? The work I do for my communities on a local level, on a national level, I've been lobbying. I did it the liberal way for a while. I went lobbying in DC, in Sacramento. I wrote policies. I worked with legislators. I got people elected, and that was bullshit. They still used us. It doesn't matter about that. You have to do it on a community change, and you don't understand what I'm talking about because you haven't done the history. You haven't learned about my people. You haven't learned. And you know that it's not. It's not about agree. Agree on what? What are we talking about? Because I'm not talking about opinions. I'm talking about.
Tell me about college.
Yeah.
Tell me about college.
Tell you about college.
You're a full-time student.
Yeah, at this school. And this me being here, me being allowed to come here is because of the knowledge I'm spitting at you right now. That's the only reason why, because everything else in my family dynamic would have proved me not being here. I had to fight against a lot of shit to get here. Shit that I know is wrong on a systematic level that has nothing to do with individual color of skin. You don't think we know that? Phenotypes aren't real?
You need to listen.
You don't know. You need to listen to what? To what? What do you have to say? You just interrupted. What'd you say?
No, I wanted clarity when you said systematic problems. I was asking what you
Systematic
meant.
problems.
I was saying what you mean specifically.
Yeah, actually, name a law that's not racist and that's racist except for affirmative action.
Because when in China,
Name one.
when they
Wait, what do you mean affirmative action?
Well, name one
What's the
racist law.
purpose? What was the purpose of affirmative action? What was the purpose of affirmative action?
Yeah, for specifically black people.
For why?
Because it's a racist
Because there
law.
is systematic inequality. It's trying to fix something, and guess what?
Oh, wait, is UC Berkeley racist
Why
towards
didn't it
everybody
work?
but Asians?
No.
Because I swear to God, there are so many damn Asians at UC Berkeley. Is UC Berkeley racist towards everybody but Asians? Are they?
That doesn't even make any sense. You just said that the institution's racist because there's a lot of Asian people.
I'm saying, are they racist?
Do you not understand why there's a lot of Asian people? You've been trying to figure that out why?
His question is this: because Asians are overly represented here, does that prove racism?
Yeah,
That's what he's saying. No,
my point, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Does it? Yes or no?
It proves the model minority myth, and it proves structural racism. It proves the model minority myth. Do you not understand what that is?
Or how about this?
You look confused.
I
Why
can
don't you
name
look it
so
up?
many
How about
fucking
this?
words you don't know.
How
too.
about it could
Like
mean
what? Affirmative action?
Oh my
The fact that
God!
it
Oh
was
my God! We're
outlawed in
gonna say a bunch
California
of buzzwords. Are
in
we gonna have a fucking
1992?
vocab quiz?
What?
Are we gonna have a
Are you
fucking
gonna tell me a word, or are you just bullshitting? What?
you can talk to me with respect. I'm engaging you with respect.
Okay, what?
No, she can't.
What have you done that makes you feel that you are rightly so in your understanding of the way United States works?
You don't know what my
No, I'm asking you.
you don't-
Like, what work have you put in to try to understand the world we live in? What do you do to put in work?
You're not My work is not the question.
Work
I asked you
to
a
gain
question.
knowledge
I asked
about
you
the
a-
way your society
I asked you a
works.
question.
What was the question?
Because Asians
Yes,
are
they're overrepresented. I told you, structural racism, model minority myth.
What is structural racism?
Resources.
all you're doing
People
is
come
talking
here
over
from
me.
immigrants.
All
come
you're
here.
doing is talking over me.
No,
you
I'm
won't.
answering your question.
Okay, what was my question?
You said because the fact that Asians are overrepresented at UC Berkeley does not prove racism.
Yeah.
Let me try to
Is it
explain.
yes or no?
It's not a fucking yes or
No,
no question.
but first
it's
give
not
me
a
your yes or
it's-
no, and then give me
no.
your reason.
I did.
Is it yes or
I
no?
said structural racism and model minority myth. Two reasons. Let me explain
So is
now.
it yes or no? I'm still confused. You won't answer.
I tried to answer you 3
Is it
times.
yes or no,
I tried
and
to
then
answer
give me
you
your
3 times.
reason.
I told you yes.
Okay, yes.
Structural racism.
Okay.
Stay on her
Yes,
face.
and model minority myth. Back the fuck up. Back the fuck up.
She won't
back
let
up.
her race
She
Well,
keeps
discuss,
touching me.
but don't get in her face.
You don't get to touch me. Back up.
Okay, so look.
Stop. Hold on.
How about this idea?
I
You're getting
answered
a whole
you.
lot
You
closer
didn't
than
let me
she is.
explain. Would you like me to explain why we're seeing
Yeah,
the
but I want
current
you to not
demographics
condescend.
of
Just
students?
stop yelling.
Let me see the current You want me to explain now? Okay, so Asians, right? It's broken down in this democratics. It consists of Southeast Asians. It consists of, Indians. It consists of like people from China, from Korea, from Japan, right? So it breaks it. Those are all a bunch of ethnicities. So people in this country that have been here in terms of like that didn't come over here recently, like my family on my dad's side. The only reason why my family on my dad's side is California is because they had to literally leave in the greatest migration or internal migration in the history of America, and that was during when there was lynch mobs, literally lynching people, literally terrorizing communities to leave. That was the hugest internal migration. That caused people to come to California, right? That's my family. People that are often here, whose parents were immigrants, they came from like countries like say Vietnam, where like certain refugees were coming out after the Vietnam War or before, or prisoners of war policy when they allowed Vietnamese people to come here. Right? They come here and they take advantage, not in like the bad sense, take advantage of like their
literal sense.
of the way things are here, living in the most powerful country on the planet, right? We have one of the highest standards of living, right? There's ability to look at these institutions, technically the best
What you're
public
saying
university.
is they capitalized on the opportunity.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they weren't here, but they just say they just came over. This is how they just came recently. Say if they're immigrants or the immigrants before that. A lot of them. If you look at the demographics, this makes sense. Second point is people like me, like Black Americans who have been historically here. Right, we can't even trace on our black side like any recent immigrants. We're not here. We're not here. They hide us. They say 3% of the student population is black, right? But they're counting African immigrants, like people I just told you, that come here because say they want they want a visa. And because it's very hard to get a visa coming out of Africa, even if you're like a refugee. Okay, so they come here and then they lots of times they already have money. They have to come here with money and like family here. So they come here and they make a lot of money and they send their kids to school and they're black. So they get classified here as being like black. We get because the skin color, but on a level from Black Americans to African immigrants and Africans and their children, we're completely different groups.
So what you're saying is that you would prefer that
No, I wouldn't. You're going to say that I prefer that it would be a more equal scaling of
I
demographics.
didn't even get to ask my question.
What?
You would prefer that within the data they would differentiate between Africans and African Americans.
We need to talk about that word because in terms of like who gets to be called African Americans, often African immigrants when they come here, they get to be labeled African Americans. That's
incorrect unless they get
exactly.
American citizens.
So, but when you look at that demographic, and this is an example, right? Because this is technically the #1 public institution in the world. So look at the demographics of the surrounding Bay Area. Look at the fact that we have Oakland that has a huge black population, and they're not here. We're not here. When I walk around, I get news people coming up to me. It's the 5th time I've been on the news since I've been here. I got interviewed on behalf of the school. Why? Because you could point me out of the crowd easily.
Okay, but here's the thing.
And why aren't we here? That brings me to the next question. Why aren't we here?
Well, here's the question. Are blacks applying at a rate and then getting denied? Because according to you, you want more blacks to apply.
Okay.
So more blacks need to apply.
It's not about applying.
But they're not.
It's about the
same resources.
to get here in the first place. It's not about actually applying. It's about the fact that we're not we don't, it's on such a small level are we existing in the application pool.
Okay,
We're not even reaching that. We have a,
Okay,
even heard
so
of
it's
the
not
term
a school problem. It's a problem within the families, in a home and things
no,
like that.
you see how you're saying home and family? That's equating that now because we have systematic inequalities amongst Black Americans, that's saying it's because of us, that we are born this way.